Hi there, my name is Memo, this is my channel Houseplanty Goodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out, hopefully with you guys, about my big passion and probably what might be yours if you're watching videos like this, which is tropical houseplants. You might be able to see the plant that I want to talk about behind me, and it is very large and in charge, so to speak. So today I want to talk a bit more again about my variegated Burle Marx Philodendron. I know this is one of the first videos, if not the first video that I've got on YouTube, and it's still my most popular video, and I always keep getting people asking questions on that video, so I thought I'd do a bit of an update. Hopefully this is something that you guys can enjoy. You can see how much the plant has grown even since that video, and that video hasn't been up. I don't think it's been up for even a year at this point. So definitely a plant that grows super, super fast. If you're thinking about getting into a slightly rarer, quote unquote, philodendrons, and you definitely want something that's variegated, consider going for the Burle Marx Variegata. Because I have to say, even if in the beginning it took a while to kind of get established and get going, and I was a bit worried because everybody was just like, it grows like a weed. You should be seeing a lot of growth, and I was really not. Granted, I did buy it in the winter, and it got shipped in the winter as well. So I think that also may have thrown that plant for a loop. But look at it now. It did have a turning point where it's just started growing like mad. And it was when it got like over like 5 or 6 leaves, I think, on each one of the stems, and then it just exploded essentially. The other thing that you might notice, and I'll see if I can get a video and maybe put it up here as well at some point, of what it looks like on the other side of this plant, because you might be looking at it now and going, oh, there's not that much variegation. Yes, there's a variegated leaf there and some variegation there and there, but there's an awful lot of green that you can see. Now, several things, and the reason why I'm going to put a video here is this ain't moving. This is exceptionally heavy. It's in a terracotta pot. It's on terracotta legs as well, because I don't want it sitting ever in water. We've had a few summery, warm, kind of mini heat wave days in the UK recently, and it got to the point where this plant was getting watered daily. Temperatures have dropped slightly now. I think we're about to have another heat wave, but enjoying the fact that this plant can go for a couple of days now between waterings. Obviously in the winter that is drastically more reduced, but it is a very, very happy plant. It keeps pushing out leaves. On the other side is what I was saying, is there's much more variegation that you might be able to see, but not moving, because not only has it got multiple stake poles in, but it's also attached to the shelf that you might be able to see here, purely because I'm worried it's getting so top heavy. I don't want to get it on the ground. I want to have it relatively high up where I can see it and notice if it needs anything. But a relatively easy care philodendron. And the one thing I will say, as with most philodendrons, definitely with this one, invest in one of these. So get yourself a moisture meter. Let me see if I can bring it up to the camera, and hopefully that is focusing. And with this plant, I generally want to get it to the point where it's between moist and dry. I think it's between 3 and 4, and that's when I want to be watering. I don't want to be leaving this on the dry side for too long. I know some people with philodendron, they like to do that. I've had bad experiences with that because I've had a lot of plants suffer from edema. And with edema, there's a problem of you've left the plant sapping for too long, so the cells and the leaves will burst, or you've underwatered the plant for too long, and then all of a sudden you flushed it and it took too much water in too quickly and the cells burst. So I like to have a fine balance, essentially. So this really, really helps. And if you've got a large collection of rare plants, I would imagine you might already have one of these. If you're just starting to want to expand your collection, grab one of these on Amazon. They're really, really not that expensive. I think I've got a link down in the description as well, where I've got like all the different products that I use. I got mine from Amazon. It's not that expensive. I think in the UK, this was maybe a $5, if that. So I don't know. Rest of the world, I'm assuming between $5 and $10 probably is what you would get it for. But this has been invaluable, because what I do with this is I check the soil before I water. I don't go on a schedule, because in the winter, for instance, this plant might be getting watering every 3, 4, 5, or even 7 days if it's really, really cold and it's not getting a lot of sun. But as I said, in the summer now, if I was leaving that like that for 7 days on end, I'd have pests, I'd have spider mites, I'd have all these other pests that happen when the soil stays dry for too long as well. And can you imagine me getting a pest infestation? Really touch wood, because I really cannot be bothered if this plant gets pests. But you don't want to be dealing with that, with a plant that large and having to manhandle it as much as it would, because you end up losing quite a bit of the plant. However, something cool did happen from this plant, and it had a branch that was kind of going towards that window, but it was going outwards essentially. And I decided to snip it, and let me show you what I did. Essentially, I popped, and you can see these are all the leaves that were on that vine. There's a lot of variegation going on in here, and you might be able to see if I show you that one. There's some green ones as well, but you know my opinion about green leaves and variegated plants, I do like to leave a few on there because it does help them photosynthesize. And look, this is heavily variegated. Maybe this is a bit too much variegation, but because it's got green leaves attached to it, I'm not worried. And essentially, it went straight into a self-watering pot, into pond, and it's loving life because it had really strong aerial roots and it hasn't missed a beat. It's pushing out new growth instantly. So very, very easy care for a plant. One that if you are considering getting, I'd say go for it. As with the other video, if you've got any questions on this plant, I've had it now for a few years. So do feel free to ask me ask me any questions down in the comments below. Let's have that chat, essentially. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks. Bye.